Welcome, everybody, to another FARR and Beyond podcast. I'm your co-host, Scott, with our other co-host,
Micah. We got our black shirts on.
We're doing the black shirt thing today.
That's all I know. It's like we call that continuity in the film world.
I'm feeling the man in black today.
Yeah.
And just a little bit of Johnny Cash today.
I did a count. Someone asked, "Are you always wearing black shirts?" I said, I own 13 of them.
Yeah. It's a good color. It's a good color. It goes with everything.
You know what? It's one thing I don't have to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. You got purple pants, black shirt. You got green pants, black shirt. You got blue pants, black shirt. Works with everything.
I know what my kids ate for breakfast. It's on it. It's perfect. It's easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've got some colorful shirts and stuff, but
I do.
A lot of times I'm just not feeling colorful. It's not a bad feeling. The black is just such a classic look. But again, hey, thanks for joining us. And before we get into this, if you like the show, please subscribe, save it, share it with somebody. That's really important. Share it with somebody. We do our lives on Fridays. This is live right now. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying this is live right now. But if you're watching a recording, I'm going to be saying this is live right now, but it won't be. So I'm going to say
live then.
It was live then, which is now. But later it won't be now. It'll be back then. It'll be then. It'll be before.
Wait,
it'll be.
What if we cross the international date line?
Oh, see, then we've already done the show.
This is
we've already done it.
We're talking to ourselves in the future.
We do our Friday afternoons, 2:00, and we do Monday nights. Every time we have a show, we replay it on Monday nights, so people get a chance to watch it if they want to watch it. But it's always available to you on the YouTube channels and everywhere else. And if you're not sure where to find us, go to soberlifeentertainment.com, and it'll take you to the YouTube channel. That being said, first of all, Micah, how you doing, man?
Tell you what a week. What a week.
It's been crazy. I think we were supposed to get together last week, and that didn't work out.
I think people are working, training, this, that.
We got
folks that are coming up to the hub up in Palm Beach County. We actually had a nature disaster in Lake Worth last weekend. We had flood, an actual legit flood that flooded out our hub. But rest assured, we're going to be back up and not swimming. We got the water out of there. Mitigation taken care of. They're literally digging up sidewalks and changing drainage and everything for the city. But that hub will be up and going early next week, if not Monday or Tuesday. We'll continue the work inside, but folks can come and access it. So stay tuned on that. And but also FARR news, FARR and Beyond. May 18th, mark your calendars. Barbecue coming up. Be watching your socials, be watching your emails, be watching your skywriters, your smoke signalers, your carrier pigeons. We'll be getting notice out to you on the list of events, all the fun things that are happening.
Now, is this open to the public, the barbecue?
It is open to the public, but most importantly, it is open to our friends in recovery.
Yes.
Get on out, come out and eat, celebrate, get words of wisdom, get some community knowledge, get active. We're going to have all kinds of fun activities going out there. We're actually trying to solidify right now exactly which ones we want to do. We're down to a few things. We have pickleball. We have volleyball. We have kickball. We have other things. These are all suggestions that have come in. So if you have a suggestion, get it in there.
You're going to have music there.
Oh, we're going to have music. We're going to have the maestro, DJ Scott. Do you have a DJ name?
They just call me DJ Scott.
DJ Scott.
Yeah.
I never had a DJ name. Then people just made things up because it's funny.
Yeah.
I had DJ J. I thought that was pretty funny.
See.
And then DJ BMOC. For some reason, one of my friends used to call me Big Man on Campus. DJ BMOC.
I like that. No, I mean, I've had other DJ names. You Suck was one of them.
I have got that one, but I said, was that DJ You Suck? Is it all one word?
That's why I don't do Sweet 16s anymore. Kids party. Quinceañera Sweet 16s. If you're a DJ, that is kryptonite. You want to stay away from those because you could play 30 great songs in a row and they're singing, they're dancing, they're having a great time. You play one bad song, you suck, man. I'm like, okay. I've been paid already. Party's over.
That's right. That's right.
Don't ever pay the DJ ahead of time. Wait till the end of the party.
No, don't say that. Prepay only.
Do you still do it once in a while?
Yes, and I've done it for it's funny, like for youth summits and things like that. And I mean, it's in your blood. You love to do it. And
It's really more of a donation of time.
Exactly.
Even the ones I do that pay, it's like I'll do friends' weddings.
Yeah.
Friends' weddings. I'll do them for like $200.
Right.
Just a gas money,
Yeah.
a little bit of my time.
Yeah.
But when normally, I mean, back in the day, I was getting anywhere between $800 and $1,200 per wedding.
That's right.
But yeah, you're right. It's in our blood, and I want to share music with people.
Right.
I was actually at a treatment center this morning, sharing music with the people in the room, and everybody was a little stressed. They were having a hard time, and so I cut the group in half, and in the second half of the group, I went to my car, got my speaker, brought it in, and said, "We're going to try something." By the end of the group, everybody was smiling, having fun. I'm like, see how simple it is? You plug into music, it does so much for you.
It's one of the three great things. We got food, love, and music. Those are the three great.
That's right.
The trifecta, and no matter which one is not working for you.
And I love to eat food while listening to music, so I just get them all at the same time.
Yes, that's nothing but love right there. So
yeah,
it's true. It's true. We talked about the music, and we'll probably do multiple episodes on that. But I think today we have we're going. This is a universal topic.
Yeah, what I want to talk about today, and something that we've talked about in the past, and I think you're right, universal, is fear, and how much we let fear run our lives. Fear keeps us in bad places. It keeps us from going to good places. It can sometimes pull you out of a good place. Right. We are run by fear. And you made a comment just as you sat down before we went on here. Like fear is everywhere.
Yeah.
Now. It's like
we live in a fearful world.
Yeah.
It's like a top-down, bottom-up approach to fear. It's like you turn on any device, it's something to make you fearful. We have people living in fearful environments. Not that that's a new thing. People like, you always get the sky is falling kind of thing.
It's nothing new under the sun, but yeah,
we have a lot of those. But how we approach it and how we allow it to really guide our decisions, guide our lives, and look. These are two fine gentlemen here. We're not therapists. We don't play one on TV, but we've been around the block a few times.
I did play a doctor on TV once, but that was in an infomercial.
Ooh,
yes. I brought a car back to life. I know, but you're absolutely right, and it's prominent in our school systems. Mm-hmm. They hold this: you're going to fail over your head and create an atmosphere of fear. Right. If I don't do well, then I'm going to fail. Instead of understanding that we fail, we get it right, we learn. We fail, we get it right, we learn. The school system says failure is bad, and it creates a scare. Our politics right now, huge fear. Let me tell you what to be afraid of and who to blame, but nobody has an answer.
Exactly. Or the fact that, hey, it's actually some things aren't that bad, but we're going to tell you it otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's think about the world we live in right now. And, really hats off to anybody who's struggling out there. Trust, we're here to find help. We're here to find support. And everybody's struggle is their own. And we want to support that. And we look at how, though, fear, anxiety, things like that can play into it. And then you turn on the TV and you see other places where, they don't have a house, a street, a neighborhood because it's gone, or it's, it's been taken over by some, we have lots of wars that are happening and lots of areas of embattlement and political strife and what have you. And you see that and you're feeling a certain way. Well, there's this fuel to the fire. So, whew.
Yeah. And we see it every day is people struggling with addictions and mental health disorders, even getting better, even if they believe it's possible. It's such a fearful thing of the unknown.
Yes.
What is the way to combat that? I mean, we can come up with a million different things. I think the first thing you have to have is a form of either trust or faith to be able to get past fear, is to understand, listen, I made it 56 years on this planet. This thing that I'm afraid of, I've faced things like it before. It didn't take me out. Why am I going to live in fear now? Right. It doesn't mean don't be cautious. Being cautious is a whole nother thing. It's being present and mindful. But fear is the one that stops you in your tracks. And 90% of the time, it's not based on anything other than just something that's spinning in your head.
It is. You said it. we create a lot of it. We're inferred a lot of it. A lot of it's applied to us because either environment or knowledge or something you saw or from experience too.
That's true.
And something that created that in you in a younger or earlier part of your life can stay with you for forever. And it's a question of, okay, well, when are you going to face that? There's that old term in experiential learning called slaying the dragons.
Yep.
And our what's his name? What's that TV show? Not Tolkien.
Oh, no, wait.
What's the big huge one? Game of Thrones.
Oh.
R.R. Martin, dude. I saw exactly 0 seconds of that show, so I have no reference. But I know there was a lot of dragons and swords.
Yes.
And blood. So, but we used to call it slaying the dragon, and it was, how do you find a physical way to face a fear, and you realize no matter what you step through, you come out on the other side. There's going to be there's that moment, that step off moment, and you realize, okay, I'm in it. Oh,
let me bring it back to music. Alive. It's the old Maureen McGovern song. There's got to be a morning after.
Got to be a morning after.
No matter what's going on today, there's got to be a morning after.
Got to be a morning after.
It's going to be all right.
That's right.
But especially when it comes to people with getting healthy or doing good things, fears, like I said, 90% of fear is what's created in our head from something that we don't know. So
fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah.
If I stand on a 1 foot square and put a 1 foot square on the ground and I stand on it, I'm not afraid.
Right.
Because I'm standing I'm stable on a 1 foot square. I could stand there.
Put it on a pole 70 feet in the air.
Exactly. And now let's say no wind and no other forces. It's the same stability you had as you were on the ground. That's on top of that. But we're extremely fearful because now we're thinking about all the possibilities.
Yes.
Fear is an amalgamation of what's the worst that could happen.
Right.
But it's not something that really does happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Someone's pointing this out. I can't remember if I was watching a podcast or listening to something. Surprise, surprise. Podcast people watch other podcasts.
Yes, we steal ideas. That's why. No, I mean...
or maybe it's like, did I see this? Did I dream it? But no, it reminded me of something too. And they were talking about, as we ratchet safety up, right? Say like we've added safety to take away fear and all, but have we added too much safety? I know what it was. And I'll shout out to the great Adam Carolla. That's who was discussing this. And I thought it was a really good point, was that, you look back in the day of those pictures, it was steel workers, right? Walking along beams, eating lunch, no safety harness. So we're talking hundreds of feet in the air.
Right.
And then they said, well, probably we should have a tether on that. Right. Not that it may have, who knows? I don't know the statistics of how many people have been plummeting off those things, but you hear about these building jobs. It's like, and surprisingly, only not that many people,
Yeah.
And, but you add that other layer and it's like, are people less careful now that they have different safety, or did that, inherent understanding of what could happen build in the safety and build in presence of mind because these dudes are there's old footage of it. Go watch. There's literally walking on steel beams, 100 feet in the air, carrying a sack here, a lunch here, sitting, it's like, and like fearless.
Part of that is the world is so much smaller. Back in those days, the iron walkers, the high steel people that are up there, they knew what was happening in their town and they knew what other people have done in their jobs, like through stories. But they don't know everything. Now we had, God bless, horrible, the bridge collapse.
Oh, jeez, what a tragedy.
The boat drifted into the bridge in Maryland. It went down, still 6 people missing, presumed dead now. Yeah. And they were workers. So speaking of iron workers, they were doing work on the bridge. But that happened. We knew about it in minutes.
Oh,
we actually saw it because they got video of it.
That's right.
So we create this higher level of fear with this more access to information. Mm-hmm. I never would have thought about getting bit by a shark until now I'm in a place where every time somebody has a shark come close to them, they could be in California, they could be in Hawaii, they could be in Australia, they could be somewhere else. And I hear about it within minutes. And all of a sudden it assigns, so too much knowledge can sometimes create fear.
Sure. Oh, by the way, watch this. Hey, everybody out there, we're in South Florida. Who here likes to go to the beach? I get this question a lot. Are there sharks out in the water when you guys go to the beach? Here's the answer. If you're swimming in Florida, you're next to sharks. There you go. But the good news is they really aren't that interested in you. Much like the alligators.
If they were, it would be every day, death after death after death. That's not what happens.
That's not what they're interested in. Now, if you're out in their food chain and this and that, and you generally put yourself in there. It's like, here, great thing for you. Don't put yourself in the position to create that opportunity.
Right.
Like if you're not really like heights and your balance isn't a little off, being a high steel worker is not your best occupation.
That's right. But they have the confidence.
They do.
Like I said, I could stand. You could put one of those beams because those beams are about 12 inches across.
That's right. Very solid.
Put one of those on the floor. I could walk back and forth on that all day long. It's not even like a balance beam. It's all the room I need to walk, and I'm stable. They just have the confidence of knowing that if I walk on top of this beam, I'm as stable as if I'm on the ground.
That's right.
And if it's high winds, they walk a little more carefully, or they don't do it.
That's right.
There's a lot of times they weren't working because of the winds.
Yeah.
Now they've got safety gear, and like you said, now I've got a safety harness, so I could go out there in a hurricane and do that. Yeah. Sometimes we get a little overconfident. I think that's true. I actually had a little fun thing I wanted to do.
He got the big sheet. He's got the big sheet.
This is called preparation.
Here's my
phobias.
Phobias.
I love phobias.
All right, ready for trivia? All right, you're gonna ask me.
I'm gonna ask you
number
some
one.
phobias.
The number one fear people face. You're gonna ask me that.
No, I wasn't, but I will now because that is something I've asked
We're doing
before.
it's almost like Karnak. Go ahead.
Well, what is the number one fear that people? What is the number one phobia
Clowns.
in America?
Clowns.
No,
got to be clowns.
Speaking in public.
Number two is clowns.
Number two could be clowns.
It is true. Speaking in public is number one, but it should be clowns.
Yeah, and I don't understand that phobia. Speaking in public.
Me neither.
I've never had.
But clowns.
If I got a room with 5 people, I'm more nervous than a room with 50,000 people.
Sure. Then I had a clown in that room with 5 people.
Yeah, if I could dress as a clown and speak to a crowd of people, I could just trigger the shit out of everybody.
I don't think about actually being dressed as a clown being the speaker. Oh,
hey, we should go as clowns for the barbecue.
That might be it. Face your fears, facing yourself.
All right, so here's some basic ones that we know. I'll hit you. Let me hit you with one that you would know, and then one that you might not.
All right.
Now, arachnophobia.
Spiders.
Yeah. Very common fear.
Yes.
I have a little bit of that.
Well, I think everybody has the fear of the creepy crawly.
It's just something
weird.
Now, arachnophobia we know. Ablutophobia. Ablutophobia.
Fear of the cartoon Popeye.
Pluto. Perfect. No, fear of bathing. Fear of bathing.
I think that's a real thing.
Here's the cool thing. If you got a fear of bathing, you're never going to have to worry about your fear of people because nobody's going to be around
you. Even clowns.
Let's stick with the A's for a minute. Here's one that you would know. Acrophobia.
Fear of going out. Being public. Isn't it?
No, it's agro.
Agrophobia.
This is acro.
Acrophobia.
Fear of heights.
I
know. Most people don't even know
Here's
that.
what's ironic. I actually have a fear of heights.
I have
acrophobia.
Have you always had it?
Always. And I do stuff at height. Like I still facilitate ropes courses, build up, rock climb, things like that. Don't like heights. I don't even like being on ladders.
Oh, I used to do all of that. And I like mountain climbing and stuff like that. But I fell. I fell one time while I was installing a sign. It was like one of those big signs over a highway. And I fell. And since then, I get nervous going up ladders and stuff now.
I don't know.
I can still climb on a mountain. But I cannot do I can't do the ladder thing.
Acrophobia.
So it's acrophobia. It's a phobia most people have, but everybody's got little phobias and stuff. It doesn't mean it has to control your life. I think that's what we're talking about here.
That's right.
Is it's okay to have some fear.
Yes.
Just if it's running your life, you got to think about that.
Yeah.
Now, if your fear of heights is running your life, maybe you shouldn't move to the top of the mountain.
Right. Or find a way to address that fear, change your experience set so it's not as like I said, I love to climb mountains, I've gotten through it. It doesn't keep me from doing it. There's certain things I choose not to do, but it doesn't keep me away from doing the things I truly want to do.
That's right. Yeah. That's absolutely right. We got androphobia. That's
fear of lame phones. Android?
That's android phobia. That's no, androphobia is a fear of men.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, glad I don't have that. That would suck to be afraid of yourself.
Yes.
I'm sure. Okay, bibliophobia.
Bibliophobia. Scared of libraries? Books? Reading?
Books.
Okay.
There is a fear of books.
By the way, that's the number one phobia for 7th graders.
I was thinking high school.
And I got bibliophobia. I don't know where my book went.
Barophobia is fear of gravity.
No, sorry.
What are you going to do with that?
I'm sorry to the
barophobia.
Wait a minute.
B-A-R-O phobia.
So baro, like barometric pressure.
Yeah, possibly.
So wait a minute. Wait a minute, though. Wait. Wait. Does one with barophobia have the ability to levitate and defy gravity?
That's the one. And what is that song? Gravity. I mean, that must be horrible for them.
Yeah.
When that song comes on the radio. All right, let's see. Here's one you're probably pretty easy to figure out. Cyberphobia.
We all need more of that.
Fear of
anything electronic, cyber, like
computers,
nothing. But really... that brings up an interesting point. When we were talking last time about kids and things and schools and all this stuff, and I believe that here in Florida they are trying to pass either a ban or a I think it's an outright ban on kids under 14 accessing social media.
Yeah.
And if you're 16 to 17 or 15 to 16, you have to have parents' permission. I don't think it's that bad an idea.
But I don't.
But that's I go to the extreme.
It's no, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Was my childhood better without social media than what people have now? I think so. I think so. I think we relied a lot more on our friendships, on our relationships, on our creativity,
on ourselves.
I mean, my parents didn't buy us guns when we were kids, and it's like I wanted the Red Ryder pellet gun, and I wanted all this stuff.
Had one,
but you know what? We lived in a neighborhood. There was woods there,
right?
And me and my friends go out into the woods. We play Army every day. And all we needed was a pine cone,
right, for
grenades. And a stick for a gun.
And you went and played guns. And it was actually for hours. What do you want to do? Let's go play guns.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was the Cowboys. It wasn't anything other than let's try to sneak up on each other, get each other.
That's right. It's like tag.
Yeah. And now they got laser tag.
Well, laser tag was
which is cool. And they got paintball wars and things like that.
Well, think of what's the.
Well, we did all of that without
our
imagination. Any of that technology.
That's right.
We did all of that without the technology.
Shout out to my Uncle John who made me my own handmade wooden machine gun.
Oh, that is so cool.
Painted black because there's a toy one of it. And he's like, this is that kind of guy. I can make that. And 3 weeks later, I had a beautiful wooden version of it.
Absolutely.
I love that.
So the fear of clowns you were talking about is coulrophobia.
Coulrophobia?
It's COULRO.
COU. Cool.
Coulrophobia or something like that.
That's fear of clowns?
Yeah, that's fear of clowns.
Okay, so let's slide that up the list to number 1 or 2.
That should be 1 or 2. Absolutely. Cacophobia. I like that one. CACO. Cacophobia.
Cacophobia. I don't know.
Fear of ugly people. I'm sorry. It's just funny. I mean, apparently, who's the judge?
Yeah, exactly. Is it the clown?
What is it? I've seen beautiful women cry ugly. You ever seen a beautiful person cry ugly?
That's a term, right? I cry ugly.
Yeah. So if I got cacophobia, I'm in love with you. You cry and I run screaming.
Well, at least you know how to figure out your diagnosis.
That's
not really looking at the root cause of that relationship, but hey.
Oh my goodness. These are so funny. Claustrophobia is a big one.
Actually, I got a touch of that.
I'm
better now.
I'm not, as long as I got space where I'm not being touched. Yeah. But if I got space where it's touching me, I don't like that. Like,
I got a friend who's an underwater, one of those deep water welders, and describes the sort of the job. It's like, you go down about 300 feet, mixed gas, and you're like in a tube like this, and you got a mask, you're breathing mixed gas. It's like, so you're 300 feet down and basically a cement, pitch black, water filled.
I'm sorry, what was the purpose of this?
Well, they fix the oil rigs. I mean, they get paid a lot of money. I mean, it's worth the dough. I mean, gosh.
Fear of heights. When I worked for the radio station, I was a general manager of our radio TV station. We had radio towers.
Sure, those things are monstrous.
And we had to have people climb to change the lights at the top.
Yep.
They don't do it with little helicopters and different things. You climb. And it's a good 2.5 hour climb to get to the top.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
And they get up, and I had to be there, So I brought some sandwiches.
Yep.
I brought, and I pulled my truck up kind of backwards, put a lawn chair in the back of my truck. And I'm looking up at the towers. He's climbing. I got physically ill.
Sure.
I was afraid of heights because he was high.
It
made me really dizzy.
It's like going to a tall building. I've been at the top of the Sears Tower and at the time, World Trade Center back in the day, Empire State Building, all those things. And I would be more fearful looking up at it than when I was actually in it, which is weird.
Did you get the vertigo kind of thing when
Totally.
you're looking up and you start to...
Totally. And I even did one of the last kids that was able to do the old Ferris Bueller at the Sears Tower, whatever it's called now, where you jumped on the rail and put your...
Oh.
Yeah,
I don't think they let you do that anymore.
They still got mad at you, but they didn't kick... Now they just kick you out. But but that was fine. But now they have this thing where you walk out and it's like glass, like it's like a glass walkway. So you look down and you're just over nothing. That was a little...
They have those,
I haven't done that yet, but
there's a couple of buildings in I think it's in Japan, where they have those kind of glass floors where you're walking across, but they have like 3D imagery like projected on the glass.
Oh wow!
So when you take a step, the glass looks like it all cracks.
Okay.
And you just see people drop and like crawl and scream, and the glass is not harmed. It's just a practical joke.
But it's a
pretty badass practical joke. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. How about just take a guess. Decidophobia.
Decidophobia. I'm assuming fear of making a decision.
That's exactly correct.
Yeah.
That is a phobia. Fear of making a decision. Every woman I've ever married had that fear. What would you like for dinner tonight? I don't care.
Decidophobia. It's like that. Of course, we're finding other words. Like, what does that mean? They're like decidophobia. Well, I guess a fear of finding an interesting term. All right.
Yeah, really. And then you've got dentophobia.
Fear of your own teeth.
Fear of dentists. Fear of your own teeth. I ripped them all out. It was all cool. Equinophobia.
Fear of horses.
Correct. Very good. Ephebiphobia. Ephebiphobia. This is one that we should all have. If you're a parent, you have this now.
Ephebiphobia. What is that fear?
Fear of teenagers.
Oh, jeez.
Fear of teenagers.
Fear.
We should all, don't worry about heights. They're not going to kill you. Teenagers. Worrying about your teenagers. That'll kill you.
I'm excited. Coming up, I'm doing a program that's actually working with seniors and teenagers, bring them together to kind of do some generation gap and stuff like that. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's some fun stuff you can do with, with that mentoring. And I think we've lost a lot of that because we don't have that network like we used to have. Like, I knew I had all these, my grandparents, aunts, uncles, this, that. You had like all these, even in neighborhoods, you're multi-generational. So you had all of that. And now it's like a foreign thing.
In most cultures, and unfortunately, we live, certainly I'll say one of the greatest countries on
Absolutely. I wouldn't live anywhere else.
I don't think it's the best country because I think we do a lot of things that are stupid.
Yep.
We don't take care of our elderly as well as we should. We don't take care of our veterans.
Nope.
We don't do a lot of things.
Nope. We don't take care of our
when COVID hit, average family got $2,400 over a 2-year period.
Yeah.
Whereas in like France and Canada and other places, they were getting $600, $700, $800 a week.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with $2,400 over a 2-year period?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that? It doesn't help. So anyway,
buy a lot of crypto.
Yeah. But what's really missing from us, because we're so multicultural,
right,
is any kind of common culture.
Sure.
And what most cultures have that make them so special is the trading of information between generations.
That's right.
It's the sharing of that information. We don't do that.
Well,
I sat and listened to my grandfather for hours.
Right.
He told me about World War II. He told me about what he went through. He told me about all these things. And I would sit and listen to him for hours. I learned more from him than I've learned from any book or anything else. But we don't see that very much. I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah, well, it was brought to me. I was like, this is a great idea. I'm like, absolutely, I'm part of this. And, and I think that speaking of fears, right, is that when you have that guidance and experience, you learn to not be as fearful because you've learned from the experience of others, how to get through things, how other people dealt with it, and also that you're going to get through it. It's that guiding hand. It's like, well, it's going to be tough right now, but you're going to get through it, and that's a lot of those, it is that elder relationship. Think of our native cultures. The elders are the most respected, revered, because they are the culmination of that lifetime and past generations of wisdom. Their job is to pass that on. But I think part of that is that we don't, when we have a very transient, society. I mean, look, I live 1,800 miles away from my parents. They're amazing people, love them to death. I don't see them nearly enough. So, I'm not still getting that. And like they say, what do we usually do with our folks that are most in need? We warehouse them. We send them away, and
it's part of our throwaway culture.
Yeah.
Back in the day, your radio broke. You took it to a radio guy to fix it.
Yeah.
Your TV broke. You took it to fix it. People took care of stuff, or they fixed things, or they did things like that. Now it's a throwaway society.
Right.
I'm going to spend $1,000 on this 75-inch TV for my wall.
Yep.
And it goes bad, and I just don't even think about it. I just take it, throw it away, buy another one.
Right. Or even if you send it back and they send you another one, they'll throw that one away because it's not worth it. They're not worth anything. It's
a throwaway culture that has now transcended things, and it is now including people.
Sure.
You're no longer of use to me. This is where we see problems with our veterans.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I love the United States. I love the military, but there's a hole.
Yep. That
hole is, once you're done with us, we're kind of done with you. Now, we'll give you VA benefits. We'll give you that. But we're not putting the effort into it. The Veterans Administration should be the greatest healthcare system on the planet.
Absolutely.
And it's not.
Right.
It's not. John Hopkins, which is all a profit.
That's right.
They get more money, they get more attention, and more everything else. These are taking care of our greatest assets, the people who served in our military.
Well, you said, should they have the best healthcare system in the world? They should have the best any other system in the world. You're willing to put your life on the line for everybody else's lives and this way of life. That's a golden ticket, gang. I'm sorry. That is and it should be. And anybody that steps into that breach, and there's going to have, and I probably this is sounding a little too political here, but when it comes to veterans, it's a non-starter.
It is,
or I should say, it really is.
It should not even be a question,
and it should also lead. It should lead how others are doing and how others are conducted. Like you said, that should be the best. It should be the model of healthcare for the rest of the country, is how we treat our veterans. And it's like the same with our elderly. It's like, we have to look at that. What a bunch of collective wisdom. Now we're living a lot longer than we used to.
Yeah.
So that last, probably generally for most people, that last bit is really infirmed care and things like. It's very intensive and it is very expensive.
So I understand.
And it's understandable.
If it is medical care.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Then it's a hospital type atmosphere.
That's right.
But it should be quality care.
That's right. But why
But even with assisted livings where people are not necessarily medical, but it's just because of their age and everything else, it's you made the right term, warehousing. We're warehousing people.
That's right.
We're saying, listen, Grandpa Joe, he's getting to be a pain in the ass. Let's go put him in the home.
That's right.
And it's a warehouse.
That's right.
You may as well just go to one of those places where you store your shit.
Yeah.
Storage. U-store.
Yeah.
And just book a storage room and put Grandpa in there.
Here's the thing, though. Well, let's think about, speaking of that throwaway society, and we know we've talked about homelessness here on this podcast before, and not in deep, but we touch on it. But look at a high proportion of homeless or veterans.
Yeah.
We're seeing an alarming rate of seniors finding themselves in homelessness.
Yeah.
obviously we've had folks certainly with heavier and high behavioral health needs in that space also. But think of that entire group. Talk about a throwaway. Let's find a way to either warehouse and camp, segregate this. That's what they're all people. They all have stories.
That's right.
They all can think of the veterans. All those veterans that are homeless, they served.
Yeah.
And with the added either injury or behavioral health, that was created because of the job they did for us. So, we got
it's I've got nothing but mad respect for any military veteran, anybody who serves in the military at all in any capacity, because there's a lot of capacities that aren't about blood in the mud. Sometimes it's about clerical work or something.
I don't care what
it still serves.
That's right.
And
by the way, if you don't have all that, the guys in the blood in the mud can't do their job.
Yeah, exactly. And then the elderly certainly.
And we're all getting old. I mean, we're in a better shape than a lot of other countries, but a lot of other countries are aging quickly.
With the resources the United States has,
why do we have a homeless person?
There should not be a homeless person out there unless I'm going to say there are some people that choose that freedom lifestyle. There are some. This is the rarity, but there's always that Grizzly Adam guy who says, "I don't want to." And look, I don't want a house. I don't want anything.
There absolutely. There's always an outlier.
Yeah,
it can't be the norm.
No.
Anybody that's been to California or seen footage out there, I mean, it's insane. There's there's between substance use, mental health, and just affordability. Affordability in South Florida is very challenging. We have a lot of folks that are. So let's pull this back into fear. Let's think of that for a second. How are people supposed to operate when they have a basic fear of not having a home or shelter?
Yeah. When you have a fear of getting sick because you can't afford health care.
Right.
When you're fearful of losing your job because AI is taking over and jobs are being lost.
Yeah.
We are in a fearful time. You're absolutely right, Micah. And we throw things away. I would like to think that we're making progress in dealing with addictions, mental health, and alcoholism. But the truth is that in some ways we're even going backwards with it.
Right.
More and more people are dying, and somehow somebody determined that it's an acceptable number that dies, and it's not. It should not be.
Well, and I was just having this conversation. Some fine colleagues of mine, great guys that work in this space, and we were discussing that. I believe it was a hot mic moment, and this isn't a knock on our insurance providers like that. They should be understanding how we can do this a lot better. But that it's almost like, what was it, a self-managing problem? Well, if we don't treat people and we don't pay for those services, eventually they'll just die.
Yeah.
The cheapest care around, not alive. What?
We have seen this time and time again with insurance companies.
Yeah.
If somebody is terminally ill, they will delay certain things, gambling on the fact that they'll pass before they get a settlement or something.
Or
there's a lot of that stuff that goes on. But this becomes a cultural thing.
That's right.
Big reason we have so much fear is because we're all so alone.
Yes.
We are all so alone. I mean, even listen, you're my bud and everything, and you and I got lots of friends and different things. But in a sense, I'm still sitting there thinking, like, if I can't pay my mortgage,
right,
I'm alone.
Right.
If I get sick, I'm alone. If this happens, I'm alone. Because we've created, it used to be, we had a village to raise a child.
Sure.
Remember that old thing?
That's right.
It takes a village to raise a child. Everybody in the neighborhood knew me.
Yeah. And
they all had carte blanche, my mom, my dad. If he's a mess, beat the shit out of him, we give you permission.
That's right.
We had some, I didn't mess up in front of Mrs. Johnson's house because she could throw a shoe like Batman throws a batarang, man. Just catch you in the back. If she hits you with a high heel, you could die. It'll stick.
That was that shoe didn't come back. That was a weapon.
That one stuck. But it used to be a different world where our worship centers, our churches, were community centers.
Absolutely.
Where people gathered, and when somebody, God bless, somebody passed away or something, you had more tuna casserole at your door than you could shake a stick at. I think churches invented casseroles. They must have.
Or it was my Aunt Jean.
If you can't cook.
One of the two. It was either church or my Aunt Jean, 300 years old now. God love Aunt Jean. But the casserole. Maybe look, this is it. I think we found the answer.
I think it was in the Bible. It said, "Thou shalt combine pasta with canned meat, and you have a meal."
Meat, but I
that's
think,
called a casserole.
I think we figured out I think we have the answer.
What's the answer?
It's we got to start making casseroles again. Casseroles bring people together. Potluck, right? Right. Anybody can make one, or at least you can find a really cool mom that is going to probably wear some polyester and a beehive hairdo, but which is going to be amazing.
Absolutely,
like that's your favorite mom growing up. And
bring back the cars of those days, as long as you're going to be cool about it.
Bring it all.
Bring back those old cars.
We're not saying that. A lot of the new stuff. Don't trade that in. Well, I love the new stuff, but you start having casseroles, and This is actually serious. I'm being silly, but I'm also going to be really serious. When I have conference, and I do a lot of work, and we talk to a lot of folks who live in recovery, right? And coming into it, they're getting into housing. It's like this is if you think of like the recovery residents, and if you instill in it and you encourage it, those protective factors, finding positive adults, finding a peer group, finding those things, finding a sense of community, you can create that environment in that recovery residence. And also, why were casseroles so popular? Because you could do it with anything. It stretched the dollar, and you could feed a lot of people. And it was fun.
And it was almost meant to be shared.
You have to.
Because you make a portion. It's the perfect dish to bring to somebody.
You bring somewhere and you bring it together. And if you think about that and you have a residence and people are working, it's like, hey, this dude knows how to make the best whatever casserole. You make it in the morning, you throw it in the fridge, everybody has a chance to eat it, or you sit down together and eat it.
Yeah, the sit down, the family, every Sunday, we're eating dinner together.
Yeah. We used to eat every night when I was little, and we could do that.
That was
good. Yeah, I mean, eventually, everybody's going 300 directions, but now we're all going 300 directions. It's very difficult to.
And if we don't take time to breathe, and slow down a little bit. What you'll find is if you can sit still sometimes and be with your tribe, if you will,
right.
A lot of the fears that people live under, you'll realize aren't that big a deal.
You're connected
because you're connected. You feel like you're a part of. The minute you separate somebody, everything becomes anxiety.
Right.
And we're separate from each other.
Yeah.
We're separate. These goddamn things, the phones, they're supposed to bring us all together. It brought us further apart.
Completely.
It brought us further apart. We don't know how to talk to people anymore. We don't know how to.
Everybody's, and it's that buried in it, And look, I love it. I listen to cool things all the time. See cool things all the time, but I do realize, and I think I brought this up last time, when I'm literally going down, I have my daughter on the bike, zipping down the road before school, and all the middle school kids out there, and nobody was talking to each other. No one was throwing a football. No one was in a fight. No one was all the fun things, right? And the guys and girls weren't talking to each other. And everybody was either sitting on the ground or up against a tree or on a wall, and they were this. I was like, wow. Being social. Okay, this is
so different
about this. Gotta do something about this. But I think we're gonna put the casserole truck out there and we're gonna bring people together.
Casseroles, bring back Sanka and coffee cake.
Don't bring back the Sanka. Coffee cake never goes out of style.
Never goes out of style. But there's a comedian that talks about that. It's like
Sanka.
used to have everybody's like, what is Sanka? It's not a nap for your phone, it's a coffee. Used to Sanka crystals.
Folgers crystals. Folgers crystals. Sanka was like a step down from Folgers crystals.
Yeah. All it does is you put the coffee in, you pour hot water, and it makes coffee. Yeah. It tastes nothing like a Keurig makes.
No.
It doesn't. It's a whole unique taste. I know people that I've got my stepmother's brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Yes, my stepmother's brother-in-law. This guy's he runs a catering business. He's all about food and everything. He still loves instant coffee more than regular coffee.
Wow.
I don't know what happened. It's like everything in his body, brain, and taste buds move forward in life except for that one thing. I wanted to sell boats and wound up doing that as a kid because of the Taster's Choice ads on TV. I looked like it was the Marlboro Man that obviously wasn't smoking anymore. So he was drinking. He's sailing around the world on his boat. He's got the slicker and the mustache. This is the 70s. So, he looked like the 70s doing on a sailboat. And Taster's Choice. You could have. I was like Tempest. And here he is with the clear, and it's a globe, like a clear glass globe. Yeah. That was their thing. You could buy them.
I think you send in UPC symbols and you get one. Anyways, you like anything else, wait 6 to 8 weeks, right? And but you could have instant coffee. And there he is on the boat, jam it down.
I love that.
Yes,
I love that.
When you're 6 and you don't know what coffee is, you're like, but I want that. It's cool.
So the only way this changes is it changes one person at a time.
Oh yeah. And fear is a very personal thing.
Fear is a very personal thing, but when you are surrounded by people that you believe in and trust, your fears automatically are reduced. Automatically. The rest of them you can deal with. You can learn how to deal with them. Understand, people are. When I was a kid and I reached up to touch the stove and your mom slapped my hand.
Right.
No, that'll burn you.
Yeah.
Wanted to make me afraid of it. Wanted to create a fear so I wouldn't do that.
Right.
I don't put my hand on a hot stove.
Right.
Is it because of that fear that was created? No. It's because I have experiential evidence that that's hot. I don't have to be afraid of it. All I got to do is not put my face on the stove.
Yes.
Or my hand on the stove.
Which is probably why they don't put as many car cigarette lighters as they used to anymore.
They don't do any of them anymore.
That's how I learned my fear of. It's like, I always thought if it's not glowing red, it's not hot.
Yeah.
And I learned that from my Aunt Mimi's Cadillac, because in the back seat, that had cigarette lighters in the back seat, right?
But that's where people always like.
But it's not hot. Stop. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Who hasn't stuck their finger in there? I know idiots.
It wasn't glowing.
I know idiots put their tongue on them.
Yeah, it wasn't glowing. It's not hot.
Smart people. They didn't live very long. They were culled from the pack pretty early in their life. But I tell you,
But you bring up something too. Also, if you're around not that tribe and take those serious, but if you align with other fearful people, then that fear gets amplified, right?
Absolutely.
What's that great? It's a Pink Floyd song. The song "Mother." Mother's going to put all of her fears into you, right?
Mother, do you think they'll drop the bomb?
That's right.
I love that song.
Yeah.
Love that song. Pink Floyd, Mother. If you haven't heard it, look it up.
Yeah, if you're not weeping by the end of it.
It's a crazy, weird song, but it's awesome.
But what a great, and people that are fearful generally put those fears out there to try to build their tribe of fear.
Right.
That's another thing too. It's like, I have all these fears. Well, I'm going to make you fearful as well, because if you're fearful, I'm fearful. So it can go the other way.
And I just want to address one last thing. I would like to do a couple more of these.
Sure.
We got about 12 minutes
Woo!
left. But we got to talk a couple of things. But I suppose some people are like, well, some fears are healthy. No, common sense is healthy.
Right.
What keeps me from stepping off the building when I'm 30 stories up is not fear of what keeps me from stepping off is common sense.
Yeah.
If you step off, you're going to hurt yourself.
Right.
So creating avenues where you say, oh, some fear is good. No, common sense is good.
Yeah.
Logical thinking is good.
Being thoughtful, being intentional,
being mindful is good. Fear is simply fear.
Yeah.
And fear does not have ration. It may sometimes align with something irrational.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's just all over. It's wherever it wants to go. Fear, it just runs you into the ground.
Yeah.
Microphobia. I like that one.
Microphobia. Fear of being tiny?
Fear of small things.
Okay.
Could be anything. I got a sister-in-law, my brother's wife, who has a fear of short people, little people. Just scared. Like if one comes in the room, she freaks out. I don't know what that's all about. I don't get that.
Yes.
Necrophobia.
Yeah.
Fear of
death.
Fear of death or dead things. Nomophobia. N-O-M-O.
Nomophobia. You're cured.
No. Fear of being without your phone. There's a new one.
That's new.
Nomophobia.
Nomophobia.
It's when people panic when they leave their cell phone at home, when they don't have their phone with, or if they lose a signal and it's not working. And people actually have panic attacks. They're so attached.
I am going to say this straight up.
Be it. Do it. Own it.
Own it. It's happened to me. Where's my phone? Why? Because we think we have first irrational thought, which is quasi-rational. It's like everything we're so dependent now. Every contact, every bank accounts, this, that, everything. All the pictures you have of everything in your life, everything is on that phone. even though we all pay a lot of money every month to have that stuff backed up and we don't even realize it, you think that we think our lot, that's why they've won. Because we think that our lives are that phone.
They've created the idea that this is our tether to the world.
Yes, this is your identity.
And if you don't have this, you are disconnected from the world. No, you're not.
Right.
You're more connected to yourself, which scares the shit out of some people.
Oh, wait. Watch this. Speaking of that, where's my phone? There it is. I was like, wait, here, check this out.
I wish you had left it in the car. I would have loved to have seen it.
I would have had a free.
Stop the show.
Stop the show. I'm going to hit my phone. But here's the thing. Here's the sitting on the table. Are you ready? You know what is the only thing that's keeping us from being a cyborg? Get a rubber band.
Yeah.
You're a cyborg.
You're right. You're right.
We're handheld cyborgs at this point.
I do purposefully, if I'm going to the store and I'm going to be out of the house for an hour or two, I will purposely leave the phone at home. Mm-hmm. I will go just to be unplugged, even for that hour.
Yeah.
And then to look around the store while I'm shopping. Oh, by the way, this isn't a fear. This is a pet peeve. We're going to do a show on pet peeves.
Pet peeves.
We're going to do a pet peeve. Pet peeve. I don't need to hear your conversation. The speaker phone was meant when you have your hands busy and you're alone and you want to have a conversation. Not meant in restaurants and grocery stores.
Right. I don't need your grocery list.
And I'm going to tell you what, don't get pissed at me if you're going to have a speaker conversation and I give you my opinion. Like if I walk up and say,
I play a Crocus song.
You should just leave it at home sometimes. You'll be amazed.
Or in your car. I mean, even if you run into it, leave it in the car, put it in a glove box, lock it, someone steal it. Right?
You don't have to be on this every freaking minute. Yeah. I wish we could go back.
Yeah.
Just for a while. I wish everybody could experience that. There's kids that'll never experience that responsibility of be home before it gets dark.
Yeah.
They'll never understand that responsibility because they've always got this to tell them everything.
Or send them with 3/4 so they can make a phone call. But we didn't have to bother because you just go into somebody's house or this local store and say, hey, I need to use a phone to call my mom. All right, Tommy, there you go. There's a phone on the wall.
Or if you didn't have the money, you did reverse the charges.
Yeah, reverse the charges.
They say, we've got a call from Mom, I'm at the store. Come pick me up.
That's right.
And then you hang up. You don't have to pay.
That's right.
You have a call from Mom, I'm at the store. Pick me up. That's something that most people wouldn't get that.
Because generally you got the 3/4 of, make the phone calls. And
all fears and phobias, people.
You'd spend that on Starcastle or Zap.
Yeah. I want to mention before we go, and I hope you had a little fun with this, and we're not always going to be serious with everything. But the seriousness is fear. You sit down and think about how many times you make decisions based on fear in a week. Think about how much that runs your life and think about, is it really, really necessary?
Sure.
Surrounding yourself with the good people is the first step. Yep. Because once you're around good people, you feel safer, you feel secure, and you got people you could share stuff with. Sometimes just talking about a fear makes me realize, what the hell? It's not that big a deal.
Sometimes turn off the source of the fear.
Yeah.
So turn off the screen, put down the magazine, newspaper, forget that. Just put down your phone for a minute and turn off your TV. Go outside, just look up. It's like, all right, blue sky above, terra firma below. All right, you got something to work with. Yeah. I start most days that way. It's like, all right, I'm on this side of the terra firma, blue sky. All right, we got ourselves a beginning here. And that idea of letting fear run your life and keep you from doing great things that you are all capable of, that's what holds a lot of people back. Think of the potentiality we have that's just never released because of fear. And and it will bring this full circle back to music and this, that. One of the greatest things I love to see, because you want to talk about stepping out, pushing, stretching that comfort zone. When you see someone grab a microphone and sing for the first time. You want to talk, but not speak in public, but will sing and let that voice rip. Some of them, boy, they need some work, but others you're like, where has this been? You have a gift that is now unleashed. And that's a miracle happening.
Absolutely. But people overcome that. Barbra Streisand, one of the greatest voices ever. And if you're young and don't know who Barbra Streisand is, listen to some stuff. The song Evergreen itself should change your world.
Right.
her beautiful voice. She had a fear of being in public, of being on stage, singing in front of people, talking to people. She had all those fears. She found ways to deal with that. And she's one of the best, the greatest ever. I mean, Kate Bush was a great singer back in the 90s, early 90s. Kate Bush. She sang with Peter Gabriel on the song "Don't Give Up."
That's right.
What a beautiful voice. Yeah. Never made it huge. A lot of people know it now because I guess the music was in Stranger Things. Song.
Yeah, she's like
Running Up the Hill.
That's right. And now it's like a worldwide smash.
She never made it huge because she had a fear of flying, and she lives in England. Yep. So she couldn't get to the U.S.
That's right.
The few times she came here, she came by boat.
Yep.
I'd be more afraid of being on a freaking boat. I'm telling you.
Hey, John Madden, he rode that bus all those years. The late great John Madden.
Yeah, he
would not fly. So the Madden Express. Yep.
Which most people who fly say, "Thank God John Madden didn't sit next to me. That guy could talk. Holy shit!"
I'd be more fearful of the turducken or whatever he was ingesting. Yeah. I mean, anyways, but that's just me. But
a turkey stuffed with a duck, stuffed with a chicken. Holy shit!
Stuffed with Madden's fist.
That's just crazy.
Madden.
Oh, the visual I just got. Oh my god!
All you got to do here is you got to take the inside. You get the stuff. Anyways, but God. But but think about that. Those fears that a career that could have gone. We're talking a generational voice. We talk about that in music, like voices that are like you're not going to get that again for a while. That didn't get the audience that it needed. And I think of all those young people that I've done all these groups with and heard their voices, and again, it just And some of you hear, and I've literally told people, I was like, "What are you doing here? Get out, go sing, go sing. You're going to find somebody's going to pay you lots of money for that voice." And you're going to be a gift to the world.
Don't let fear keep you alone.
Yeah. Oof.
Don't let fear keep you alone. Don't let fear stop you from sharing. Like if maybe you're struggling with addictions, you're going to a meeting or you're going somewhere. Don't let fear stop you from saying what you say. Everyone, I don't care how batshit crazy you think you are. We all have something to contribute, and we all deserve to be heard. Don't ever doubt that. Don't ever doubt that. Changing that paradigm is so important. Don't let fear stop you. Micah, you mentioned a barbecue. Where can they get information on that?
If you go, it's posted to all socials related to FARR. If you go to farronline.org, you're going to be seeing that flyer posted up there. You're going to probably see it in your inbox here pretty soon. But also, you'll be seeing communications coming out on a weekly basis, which is the way we do things now. That's how things are done now. You got to do multiple hits on that. We're going to be at the barbecue. Scott's going to be making tunes happen. We're also going to be doing some remote podcast stuff. So look on the lookout. We could be pulling you in for a little interview and having some fun right here on FARR and Beyond as we go quasi live.
Yes.
Recorded live at the barbecue on the 18th. So we look forward to having you be a part of that. So be on the lookout. We're actually going to do old school too, poster slamming. If you are living in a recovery residence, we're going to be getting with your house managers and this and that. And we're talking like paper posters right on the bulletin board. Tell your friends, get out there. It's about making connection. What's the ultimate goal of the barbecue? Connection. What's the opposite of addiction? No, not recovery. That's a great outcome, but it's connection.
That's right.
It's connection.
That's right. Don't let fear keep you isolated from things like this. Try it. Even if you show up for a half hour and make the attempt, maybe next time you hit an event, you stay for an hour and a little bit more.
At least stay for the burger.
But it's got to start. It's got to start somewhere. And it doesn't start sitting and waiting for somebody to make you better. It starts by you doing something. Yeah. So don't let the fear get to you. And if you show up, I guarantee if you walk over and find somebody standing by themselves and you tell them, I almost didn't come here. I'm so afraid of meeting people and doing things. And they'll probably say, me too. And that's why I'm standing here. You never know. You build a tribe.
That's right. And by the way, if you go to the barbecue and you're like, I don't know anybody, you come up to one of these two yo-yos right here. You're starting your tribe right there. But we might put a camera on you.
That's be afraid. Don't be afraid.
And if we're dressed as clowns, go the other way. We'll find someone else for you to tribe with.
That's all the time we got. I mean, Jesus, can you believe an hour went by?
It always does, like a flash.
It does. And hopefully you guys got something out of the show. I know not a lot of comments today, but, we're hitting a Friday before Easter.
We've usually been at 11, too.
Yeah.
So we're at 2, different times.
And unfortunately, 2 o'clock is what I have to do because I teach in the mornings now. But But we also have the replay on Monday. And I don't care if you're watching it live or not. Leave a comment, even if you're watching the replay. Leave a comment because we see those comments. If you want to join us on the show, let us know. Reach out to Micah. Reach out to myself. If you know us, if you don't know us, then certainly just put a comment and ask us to reach out to you, and we will. If you got something to share, anything to do with recovery and living good, making changes in your life, whether you're talking about mental health, addiction, alcoholism, or any other kind of recovery you want to talk about, maybe it's a gambling addiction, maybe it's a sex addiction, whatever it might be, just come on in and share with us.
And if you want to, even if you got some great musical knowledge, or
that goes without saying.
That goes without saying. Jump in on this conversation.
If you are a music aficionado and you think you can add something to the conversation, we will join you with that.
Absolutely.
And
don't be fearful.
Tune in 2 weeks for our next show, which is going to be pet peeves.
Pet peeves.
Things that just drive you crazy. And we're going to have some fun with that.
That's right. What grinds our gears?
People who try to talk with accents who don't actually have a good one. So that's one of mine right there.
Yeah, exactly. I could do a Maine accent.
Does Maine have an accent?
Oh, but this way, you see it badly in most Stephen King movies.
Oh, yeah.
Because they try to do it. It doesn't work.
You can't tell, though, because the whole cast, everything he's ever done is about Maine.
That's right.
Apparently, don't go to Maine. That's Stephen King's haunted state.
All those places he talks about are actually 90% real places.
Except for Shawshank Redemption.
Yes, it was.
That was a real place.
Thomaston Prison.
Where was that?
Thomaston, Maine.
It was in Maine. That was in Maine, too.
Thomaston Prison was the physical. It's no longer there. They tore it down. But my bunk beds that I grew up on, they're still in use to this day with a friend's kids or whatever. Those were made in the prison store of Thomaston Prison. I have Shawshank bunk beds.
Morgan Freeman made your bed.
Morgan Freeman,
God, how
Tim
cool.
Robbins did the accounting.
That is so cool. All right,
see,
folks.
That's what you get at FARR and Beyond. That's the Beyond part.
I want to get us. Yeah. We spend a little more time beyond than we should, but hey, that's you go where you're at, right? I want to thank everybody for joining us again. Please share this, like this, get it out there, reach out to us. Micah, thanks for being here, brother. As
Pleasure,
always,
bro.
man.
Love it. We'll see you again next time.
We'll catch you with FARR and Beyond. Bye-bye now.